Hi families, I'm Beth. It's nice to see you. You're watching Fix Your Family. We're on Module 6 today. I'm here with Anthony. Say hi, Anthony.
Hello.
I love that Anthony is always with me, supporting me and guiding me, and he's here for you as well. This is a collaborative effort of really desiring to stand with you in our complex relationships with our qualifiers. We have found ourselves loving someone, an amazing person who struggles with addiction and mental health, and we've all come to recognize that we need support, education, and we're here for that. So Module 6, you can find this on our YouTube channel, and you can also go to our website and find the curriculum that I'm going to take you through. So just to let you know, this is one of my favorite curriculums all time. Out of all 12 modules, I feel like this is the kind of the heart of the work that we're doing. And the title of it is Communication Skills for Difficult Conversations. I am sure that you have found yourself in a handful, if not many, moments where you were in the middle of a conversation and you did not know how to navigate it. And I'm going to teach you a couple basic skills that not only I think will be helpful for you and your qualifier, but also for your extended family. These are actually basic skills that in any kind of interpersonal relationship that you have, I'm hopeful will give you a sense of ease and really help you, you beautiful family members, offer the true intent of what your heart is. I think a lot of times we get in conversations and we find that we're kind of pinned up against the wall. The tide has turned, the whole conversation has turned, and we struggle to find our way to really offer the true empathy that we desire to offer, and it can be very exhausting. So I'm wanting to teach you some skill sets that I think will be really helpful in your relationships. I want you to hear the word assertive communication techniques. We're trying to avoid the aggressive nature of our conversations. We're trying to avoid posturing for change. Do you hear that word? We're trying to avoid defending for change. And we're trying to move into a calmer, more relaxed, honoring state when we're having conversations with our loved ones. And we're wanting to stand firm in our truth. And see, this takes a little bit of time because you may need to first come to a realization that your truth is your truth. A lot of times we find these conversations can get a little bit twisted because our qualifier at times can come back with a defense. And we can get a little, I call it vertigo, we can get a little bit topsy-turvy and not really feel like our feet are on the ground. We can feel a little bit like things just get twisted. And I'd really like to give you some skill sets that will help you feel this sense of I'm clear, I have confidence, and this is where the key is, and I love you. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't it be wonderful to communicate in a way that really demonstrates your true heart, which is unconditional love, regard, compassion, empathy, all of that, and be able to have clarity on your boundaries, what I will do, what I won't do. These communication techniques will help you do that. I'm really confident of that. We're going to start with eye language. Eye language is an assertive technique that will help you express your feelings without blame or bait. So when I say bait, I use that word on purpose. I want you to think of a fishing pole and it's got a big juicy worm on it. You hear that, Anthony? It's got a big juicy worm on it. And I throw that fishing pole out and I say a sentence to my qualifier and there's just bait that's swinging. And your qualifier grabs that bait, wrestles with it, we pull that back, we catch them on the line, they've got their fishing pole, it's got juicy bait on it, we grab it, and it's just a fight to the end. When we use eye language, which is a way to self-identify, taking responsibility for the feeling, taking responsibility for the thought, it removes the bait. We can just put our fishing poles down, and now I can self-identify. And I'm going to take you through just a couple quick examples. I would go through the worksheet, definitely. There's about 20 examples here. I'll just pick a few, where we are no longer using the word you. Now, I've really taken a minute in my, I really wanted to know, can this happen all the time? And I have yet to find a moment where we can't shift our conversation into self-identifying, which means we start to no longer use the word you. So I'm going to put you to a challenge right now, and I'm going to see if you'd be willing to start to see and become aware of how many times you are using the word you. And I'll challenge you to see, and you can always hit me up on Instagram and find me and ask me to help you reword a you sentence, because I'm hopeful, deeply hopeful, that when we start using I language and taking that responsibility for our feelings and our decisions, we take the juicy bait off of the pole, and we're no longer in a conversation for defense. We're actually just moving into our entitled, hear that word, I'm allowing my entitled feelings to have a voice. Did you know that you as family members are allowed to have your feelings? You are. You really are. I hope you hear my heart there. You're actually allowed to talk about how you feel. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be upset. You're allowed to feel betrayed. You're allowed to have all those feelings. The trouble happens when we start blaming, accusing, confronting our qualifier in a way that has the potential to create rebellion in them. You guys know that one of the teachings that I've been offering is confrontation incites rebellion. And when you're dealing with addiction and mental health, it tends to be just a massive setup. So we exchange the word you always, you never, you don't, you should. You hear all those yous? No judgment on our past that we've been doing that. We're just learning how to do it different. And we're exchanging it for me, how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I want to do, what I don't want to do, and what my plans are, what I know, what I don't know. Let me walk you through a couple examples. Sometimes we say, you don't care about my feelings. You never help out around the house. You always make me feel bad about myself, and you never listen to me. If you go through the worksheet, there will be many examples, like I said, so let's just take one of those. You don't care about my feelings. What if we switched that? It doesn't mean that you're not sad and broken. It just means that instead of the blame, we're going to shift it into, I feel hurt right now and I feel very disconnected. I'd like you to see what that feels like when I say that. We replace, you don't care about my feelings, into, I feel really hurt right now and I feel very disconnected. I feel disconnected from you. Do you hear the heart there? What it does is it provides our at least best opportunity to see if we can have our feelings and also have the potential for connection. So instead of blame, we're in essence pushing someone away, confronting them. We're actually talking about the truth of our heart and maybe something that would be meaningful. And I'd love it if we could find our way to closeness. Is that an option? That could be something you say. You never help me out around the house. I feel overwhelmed because all the chores have piled up, and I was curious if you were available to help. Yeah. Do you see how it's a question? Are you by chance available to help? Because I'm feeling really overwhelmed. That's coming from my heart, right? That's coming from a true need for me. Now, you'll learn a lot right there. Your qualifier might say, absolutely, I'm more than happy to help. Or your qualifier may not. And I always say, that's a wonderful opportunity to take note. Just watch. However your qualifier responds is how they're going to respond. And I can allow for you, what I want to allow for you is when you are speaking like that and communicating like that, there's no bait there. So you've done your best right there. You've self-identified, you've gone for the ask, and whatever the response is what the response is. You always make me feel so bad about myself. What if we switched that? I'm really upset right now. Maybe you're in the middle of a conversation and you stop and you say, can I pause this conversation? I'm really sad about this conversation right now. I'm not feeling good right now. Do you see how I'm not talking about anyone else? Ever? Did you know it can be an ever? I've been personally practicing this for a while. I would say like a couple decades. This is even something that was important to me raising my children. Instead of talking about them, you always, you never, you should, I would bring it back to me. Hey, it'd be meaningful to me to get some help around the house. Is that an option? Is that an option? And then you see how they respond. We're really after I'm wondering, I think we're all after building connection, right? Isn't that the state of our being? Aren't we after that? Aren't we desiring that? And when we communicate in a way that provides blame and posture, I wonder if we're actually doing the opposite of what our true heart's desire is. I think we're looking for closeness. So can we talk about our feelings and draw people close? I would wonder. Maybe we can play around with it and experiment with it and see if it helps. Stop ignoring me. Maybe we say that. You keep ignoring me. How come you're not listening to me? You, and you. What if we switched that? I feel so disconnected right now and I'd really love to reconnect. Is that something we could try to do together? Do you hear it? Okay. Let's do a couple that are relating to addiction. You're just manipulating me to get what you want. Have you ever said that before? It tends to not go well, does it? It tends to just keep turning on ourselves. What if instead of that, what if instead of saying that, we said something different? What if instead we said, in this conversation right now, I'm feeling uncomfortable and I'm going to need to take a break from it. I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. You hear that? That really requires clarity, doesn't it? Maybe in the moment you're thinking, I'm getting manipulated right now. Do you know that that can be a tactic of addiction, manipulation? The dysregulated addict, unfortunately, sometimes will manipulate another person due to the inability to settle self. Sometimes untreated addiction wants what it wants when it wants, and it can be very fierce, and you might be onto that. So instead of getting strong and posturing and saying, you need to stop manipulating me, what if you just paused the conversation and said, I don't feel really good right now. Not enjoying this conversation, and I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. I feel good about my decision. And then divert it into, what would you like for dinner? What would you like for dinner? There's nothing wrong with a diversion, just to let you know. It's a great strategy to get us off topic, especially once you've been clear about something that's important to you. Okay? There's a really neat video in the curriculum that you can click on from Brené Brown on empathy. I suggest you watch it. That will really give you a nice animation, a nice experience of what empathy looks like in regard to sympathy. The next skill on our communication strategies is reflective listening. And reflective listening is a communication strategy that does two things. It seeks to understand the speaker, and then it offers the idea back. So I love reflective listening, and I would use it as a skill set when things get a little bit tenuous. If you start to feel like the conversation is starting to produce some negative energy, it starts to become unpleasant, you can always pause and say, I like going for the ask. Can we pause this conversation for a minute? I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. This is how you reflective listen. A complex reflection would say, can we pause this? I want to make sure I'm hearing you right. Can you tell me what you're hearing me say, and then I'll tell you what I'm hearing you say? Because I know you have good intent here, and I think I'm hearing this wrong. I'm hearing you say this. And say it back to your qualifier. Can we pause this? Would you be willing to say back what you're hearing me say? What are you hearing from my heart? Because I want to make sure that we're being clear. And you can bounce this back and forth with one another. And it's a great, amazing leadership opportunity for you to take the reins and to move the conversation in a productive way. So here's kind of an example. I put it in the worksheet for you. To give a complex reflection is to say things like, I hear you, I see you. I'm understanding what you're saying. You're saying this. Is that right? You can ask your qualifier, is that right? Am I hearing you correctly? You want to make sure that your qualifier really feels like what they're saying is being heard. And then you can ask for it back. I understand this is really important to you. I want to see it how you see it. Maybe you can help me. Those are some sentences you can say to get all the clarification. Go slow here. Take your time when it comes to reflective listening. Explain that. Say, can we slow? I say this all the time with clients, and I raised my children like this and used this and still do in all of my interpersonal relationships. I had a client once say to me that I should have a t-shirt that says, let's slow this down, because I love to just slow the conversation down. You can say that. Can we slow this conversation down? I want to make sure I'm hearing you really clearly. Your heart is important to me right here, so I want to make sure I've got the whole thing. Are you saying this? And then say it back. Your qualifier might say, no, it's not what I'm saying at all. And you can say, okay, why don't we try again, because I want to make sure that I've got it all down. Now, you might get to a point to where you just see it differently, and I want you to know that's okay too. Sometimes you may try to see each other's perspective, and it's okay, did you know, to have a different experience. So you would say something along the lines of, can we agree that we had a different experience there? You saw it that way, I saw it that way. Maybe we can high five, shake it off, go on a walk, and just maybe agree to disagree. How do you feel about that? That sometimes can be really helpful. So that's reflective listening. We're looking to avoid confrontational responses. Confrontational responses with your qualifier sound like, remember back to the you, it can sound like you're in this situation because you put yourself there. Now, I have compassion for that thought. You might feel that way, and I want to let you know that's okay too. Maybe for you that's a truth. Maybe that's rational to you. You might have a lot of thoughts that are very rational and very real to you as the family member. And, again, there's a big and here. And, what is our goal? Has that panned out for us in the past when we've confronted like that? When we've communicated in a way that was aggressive or confrontational? Have we had our qualifier say to us, you're absolutely right? Maybe you have. And if you have, that's a blessing for me. There's been deep redemption, deep reconciliation, and that's wonderful. For the other families that might find the constant posturing back and forth, I'd wonder if we can be more strategic, communicating less aggressive, more clear, assertive, and be able to provide reflections that sound something, like we've been talking about. There's a couple other things for this curriculum that I want to go over with you guys, and it is manipulation. It is kind of a trend sometimes in family systems where we learn to recognize these patterns. You might feel it in your body, like you're hearing something that's not true, or you feel like you're kind of being given some information to try to convince you of something, and you just feel it in your gut like something's not right here. I want to let you know that your body is really important. That intuition's really important. And I want you to know it's okay to say to your qualifier, I've got some sentences here, I understand and hear you, and I feel different, and I'm going to stick with my decision. Sometimes I've even had families write that down because their relationship with their qualifier tends to be so overwhelmingly painful, and their qualifier tends to posture quite a bit, that I've had families even write that down and memorize it to say, I hear you, I know you feel the way that you feel, and I care about that, and I'm going to stick with my decision. And I tell families, just stick to the script, stick to the script, stick to the script. You can keep validating and saying, I hear you, I know you feel so different, you wish it was different, and hold the and say, I've decided I'm going to stick with my decision. You may need an Al-Anon sponsor, you may need a therapist, you may need your family, you may need our Foundations program to help you stay consistent with your boundaries. I'm confident that over time it'll get a little bit easier. I know in the beginning it can be really difficult because, truth be told, you're changing the game, right? Maybe before you gave in, no judgment on that. Maybe before you didn't know how to love and care for self. Maybe before you didn't know how to validate your qualifiers' life and their experiences and have a life of your own as well. So I'm hopeful again that these skill sets will give you a little bit of traction and start to help you feel a little bit better. Okay. Is it making sense, Anthony? Okay, good. All right, guys, you can go through the rest of the curriculum there. I just want to make sure that you've got the reflective listening skills. If there are 2 skills that I want for you as family members, they are the I language skills. When all else fails, go I language. I also want to give you guys permission. If you're halfway through a conversation and you can start to hear yourself blaming and moving into the you, it's okay to stop. Stop, take a beat, tell your qualifier, hey, I'm going to do this different. Would it be okay if I said this differently? I've been working on myself. I've been working on communicating in a way that provides both of us with more respect. I want to respect you. Would you be open to me doing it different? And then do it different. Permission to be halfway through a conversation, you guys, and recognize that you learned something and you want to practice it, and practice it. Freedom to fail, freedom to not do it right, freedom to recognize, freedom to get through a whole conversation and look back and think, I don't think I provided I language once. That's okay too. Like I always say, we're just learning, and these behaviors take time to really shift our personality to become someone new. So freedom to be halfway through and to switch it on the spot. Practice your I language, taking responsibility for your feelings. A lot of families may struggle, a lot of you may struggle in the beginning changing it, and utilize the Fix Your Family platform to get the support you need. If you get stuck and you need some help switching your you sentence into an I sentence, I would love to help you with that. So I bless you guys as you move into these difficult conversations with some new tools in your toolbox. I'm very, very excited to watch you actually provide your family with the true intent of your heart, offering that beautiful empathy that I know that you have, and at the same time moving towards the life that I want you to have. So I bless you guys. I'll see you at the next module. Bye, Anthony. I'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye, guys.